to this channel. We review a lot of Nike Metcons and some other training shoes, and today's video is about a Nike Metcon. We'll get to that in a bit. Before anything else, I would like to invite you to subscribe if you haven't yet, and if you already have, enjoy the video. So here we have with us the Nike Metcon 9 Amp. This is the newest iteration of the Nike Metcon, probably the most popular training shoe in the world right now, used by a lot of people from CrossFitters, people who do functional fitness training, and even some average gym rats that you'll find. Let's get to it, let's open it. So we have your orange box, and there we go, there we have it. Tissue paper. Interesting. There you got it. A few things to notice first. So it has this tag which says that it is made with at least 20% recycled content. So in an effort for a more sustainable future, Nike is doing this. So the first thing that jumps out at me is, as compared to the photos that I saw online and even on the site when I purchased this through the Nike app, it's not as white as it looked in photos. Now it's a little bit like a cream-ish color. So the back part is white, whereas the upper is a little bit more on the cream side. Okay. So there's a lot to unpack here. This is a major redesign on the part of Nike. So if we're basing it on history, every major Nike Metcon redesign has come during the odd numbers. So the Metcon 1 and the Metcon 2 were pretty much the same shoe. And then there was a redesign as we went to the Metcon 3. Metcon 3 and 4 were very similar, and then the Metcon 5 was different. The Metcon 5 and 6, there were some similarities, although the Metcon 6 did have a big change in the upper as compared to the Metcon 5. And then when we got the Metcon 7s and the Metcon 8s, not my favorite iteration, by the way. Those sucked. Okay, those sucked if you ask me. The Metcon 7 and 8, those were the worst in the Nike Metcon line. Now, we're here in the 9 and this is a major redesign. There's so much going on here. So a lot of different textures at play. So first, let's focus on the upper. Now the upper is made of a hard mesh rubber coating with that crisscrossing pattern. I'm not sure if you can see it from here, but yeah, it's there. So this is it. It's a mesh crisscross pattern, which seems to be reinforced so that the shoe the upper doesn't tear apart or fall apart when you do things like rope climbs. Now on the inside here, on the inside of this upper, you will see that the lines crisscrossing, it's a much tougher material. It's a much tougher rubbery material. If I'm not mistaken, they call it a rope guard. Yeah, I think that's what they call it, the rope guard. But this is the actual rope guard. So this is one of the most polarizing things about the shoe. That full rope guard that extends to the outsole. Okay, so on the white color, it's not as prominent on this white colorway, but you will see it in other colorways, especially those that have a contrasting color with this rope guard. It's really there. It's really out there. And if anything, the initial photos of the Metcon 9 that were with that kind of a color, there was one in white, and then the rope guard was blue. That really kind of turned me off to it. Now, I have a little bit of a disclaimer. I have been using the Tier CXT1 trainers for the past couple of weeks, and I've actually really fallen in love with those shoes. So much so that I haven't been wearing the Metcons in recent weeks. I've actually competed with the Tiers in the most recent competition that I joined, and I am using them again for most of the workouts in this upcoming local competition that I'm doing. But I will be using this shoe for a workout that would have rope climbs. I would choose these over those Tier CXT ones. Now, another thing to unpack here, aside from that rope guard on the inside, is this reinforcement, this rubbery reinforcement on the outside. it it's really there. You can see it. You can't unsee it. It's so big, and it's actually covering up a huge part of the swoosh. Now here, it reminds me of someone that, you know, someone's posing for a picture, and then somebody walks in the middle of the picture and actually blocks the main subject of the feature. That's what this reminds me of. I'm not a big fan of it. And then we're looking at the hyperlift. So this is the hyperlift. It's much bigger. It's much more prominent than the Metcon 8s and the Metcon 7s. I'm not sure I'm a fan of the hyperlift. You know, generally speaking, the Nike Metcon line has about a 4 to 5 millimeter heel to toe drop. It's not that much of a help. You know, if you really want to assist your ankle mobility and stability for squats, you'd probably be better off using a weightlifting shoe like the Nike Romaleos. So I don't know. This is a little bit weird to me. I thought Nike would have improved on this by making it smaller, not making it bigger. It looks bigger to me. Okay, the back of the shoe is pretty much the same as previous iterations. Another thing here that we can see is that lace lock. So the lace lock is still there. Okay, it's not that big of a deal for me. I appreciate the lace lock because the Nike shoelaces haven't been the most stable of shoelaces. They usually come undone at some point during the workout, and this does help, especially during workouts which include double unders or jump rope. For me, I'm okay with the lace lock. It's not that big of a deal breaker for me. Now the laces, they do look like they're the same type of shoelaces you always see with Nikes. There's no difference. Another thing here we're seeing is, I hope so. We'll find out later. I'm gonna work out with these shoes later in a bit. They look a lot wider than the Nike Metcon 8s. So they look a lot wider in that toe box, but it still does taper up this way in classic, in Nike design language, I guess they always have the taper. My issue with the previous generation, especially the Nike Metcon 8s, was that it got a lot narrower for me. My pinky toe was actually being squished over. I wasn't a fan of that, and moving over to the Tier Sport CXT ones, that was one thing I noticed, that the wide toe box was a lot more comfortable. And then comparing that with this, there's the heel drop was even more stable, so we'll see how these perform later. So basically, that's it. You know, there's still that basic X design that you've seen throughout the Nike Metcon for all 9 generations. It's still there. You still have that tough upper as compared to the free Metcons, which is a purely mesh upper, but this one is really designed, it's built to be a tough shoe. It's built to be beat up. We'll see about that. One thing I'm curious about is how this affects the comfort of the shoe. The previous Nike Metcon 8, I could not do any amount of running in them. They would just hurt the arches on the soles of my feet. So we'll see how this changes. You know? Another thing to notice here is that there's a lot of different textures at the bottom of the shoe, at the sole of the shoe. And it's way more textures at play than the previous generation. It's more horizontal here, and then as you come up here, herringbone pattern, so that herringbone pattern. Okay. And then as you get to the bottom, you see the Metcon logo, the Nike Metcon logo, which is still there. And then inside, you see the Move to Zero logo, again, an effort for the sustainability. So I guess that's it for now. There's quite a lot to unpack. These cost 160 USD. In Philippine pesos, I think they cost 7,895 pesos. So if you're in the Philippines, the Nike app, I got this with free shipping, by the way. So there's that if you want to check it out. US, it's $160. It's $10 more than the normal Nike Metcon 9s because the Nike Metcon 9 app, I think it has a little bit more premium materials. There's some use of premium materials, so we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I'm excited. Oh, interesting. I didn't notice that. So, looking at the shoe from the back just now, I feel like this is a lower shoe in general. Like, the profile of the shoe seems to be lower than the previous generation, which would, I feel like was probably like a few millimeters above this. Now, I'm not sure if it's just the way it looks because this hyperlift is so chunky, but could be wrong, but that's the way it looks to me. Let me know in the comments, are you guys a fan? Do you guys like this new Nike Metcon 9? Or are you gonna get one for yourself? Are you gonna be waiting for the Bayou? The Bayou option is available now, so you can design your own colorway if you want to. But so far, among the colorways that are standard, I'm happy that this is the first one to come out, because so far, this has been the most attractive colorway to me. So I'll work out with them in a bit. I'll see you guys next time. And if you haven't yet, please don't forget to subscribe and give this video a like. It truly does help the channel. Thank you. See you next time.